What's up everybody, Sam Smyers here. Today I want to show you how to make a UKG Dub Siren. Now a lot of the UKG and also D&B songs that use this sound are using a sample, and one of the most popular samples comes from a song called Wheel Up by DJ Gunshot that was released in 1994. But I want to show you how you could remake this sound from scratch using Serum. Now, before we get started, if you are new here, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel and remember to give this video a like. Here's the sound I made in Serum. So I can play any note on my keyboard, and that's what it sounds like. You hear this square wave jumping up to a pitch and down a pitch really fast. So relatively simple concept, simple idea. But let me just show you how I shaped the sound to try to get it to be like the dub siren that you hear in UKG tracks. And then I will give you some options for adjusting this sound to make it fit your track a bit more. And the note that I just played, this was a A flat note. So let's go ahead and just make this from scratch. I will put this voicing onto mono and use a square wave for my sound. So let's go ahead and do oscillator A. I'll do a square wave, can just take this randomness down, take it up this level, and let's play this. I'm just going to raise this up one octave because on my keyboard, I want it to be a bit higher. You don't have to do that, but in my example, I have a small keyboard, so it's just easier to play this higher notes. Then I will shape up my envelope 1. So let me just go ahead and set this decay to 480 or so. And then I want to give it a pretty long release, like at least a second or so, and then you can adjust this release depending on how long you want it to be. And now we need to create that pitch effect where it goes up to a pitch and down to a pitch. And the way to do this is to use an LFO1 or an LFO, and I'll use LFO1. I want to do a square wave shape because it jumps up and jumps down. And I will just go into this folder, click on basic, and then I can have some options. There's a square wave shape already in this folder. So I will do this square wave, and then you can set it to trigger. And that way it starts at the higher note, goes down to the lower note. And the BPM, I'll just do 1/16, and then we can hear how this sounds. Let's go into my matrix, drag this LFO1 to the source, go to global master tuning, and this amount, I also want this type to be just go up that way that it just goes up to a higher note and then down to the note that I play. So if I play a C on my keyboard, it'll go up to whatever note I pick and then down to this, back to the C. The amount, you can choose whatever amount you want. I found that to replicate the original sample, that doing 15 ST, that's semitones, that means that it's up 12 an octave plus another 3 semitones worked. So let's play notes, and we get that sound. Now you can adjust this BPM to whatever you want. You could do triplet, dot, or even just take it off. Maybe take down this release. Or even make it a lot longer. So I'll put it back to 1 second, just put it on BPM to keep it at 1/16. I like that. Now this pitch, you can play around with also this pitch that it goes up to. And you can take a macro knob, and when you drag it over to your LFO1, then you see these options pop up where I could assign it to the X value or the Y value. So I wanted to assign it to the Y value and also on this Y value. Now this macro knob, if I right click, you can see it's assigned to this LFO bus 1 and 2. Now if I turn this up, nothing's going to happen. You got to go into the matrix and adjust how you want this bus to be adjusted when you adjust this macro knob. And when I drag this down to negative 100, you can see this grayish blue line pop up. And that means that when I raise up my macro knob, then this point is going to follow this path. And I want both points to follow the same path. I'll take them to both to negative 100. So now when I raise up this macro knob, you can see I'm able to change the pitch of that higher note, which is a really cool adjustment that you can make and make it a bit more unique. Now you could label this. Let's just do the pitch. And it's very bright now. It's very Game Boy sounding. I want to add on a filter. Let's just do the MGLO 24 filter. And I will take this up to around 2000 kilohertz. And then I'll just add on some, let's do some soft clip distortion. Because the original sound is a sample, like an older sample, it's a bit more like not as bright sounding or clean sounding. You don't have to add on all these effects. I'm just showing you how I shaped it. Then you could play around with like a delay. I might do like a ping pong and play around with this filter. And maybe I want to EQ that. Let's take out that low end. And maybe some reverb before that EQ. We can do plates. Maybe I'll adjust this width. Keep it a bit mono sounding. And then from there, you could do some assignment on your macro knobs, like adjusting this release. Let's do Shift Option, maybe set this to 50% and call this the release. So now if I take it to 0, it's going to be a lot tighter. When I take it all the way to 100, it's going to be a lot longer. I've got this one for the pitch. Maybe I want to do the rate. So let's turn all these all on, and maybe I'll turn off anchor, and then I can do this the same way. By the way, this anchor button, if you have this turned on, when you change the LFO rate, if you have the BPM turned on, then it's always going to resync to the BPM of your song just to make sure that it's like always on beat. If you turn this off and you start changing the rate while your song is playing, then it could actually get like off beat. So you could be playing a 1/16th rate, but it not be like in time with your song. So this is what you would do if you want your LFO to always be like synced to your song if you're changing that LFO. Doesn't really matter for this example. But you can turn that on or off. So let's set this macro to, I had it at 50%. That means it's going to be in the middle there. And then you can also maybe do something with this EQ because I have it filtered off. If you want it to be brighter, so maybe I'll say this is EQ and then this one is the rate. And then you have your macro knobs set up like that. So that's just an example of like how I would go about creating this as a preset. Let's see actually what did I do. For the preset this is a preset that I did in my actual UKG Serum preset pack, the volume 1. So you can get this preset in that Serum preset pack. And yeah, that's what I did. So I did release, EQ, pitch, and rate. So this EQ, yeah, something like that. So if you do want to grab this preset, you can grab it in my Serum UK Garage Collection Volume 1. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and give it a like, and also please subscribe to my channel if you are not yet subscribed. And if you'd like to check out any of my other Serum preset packs, head on over to store.samsmyers.com.